Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Just a pleasure to have all of you with us today. Nice to be in this wonderful energy. And I always want to remind you that the most important thing in life is what you already have. It's the presence of the God Spirit within you. Move into that presence, and you have the treasure of life. We'll try to do that in our teaching here today. Just a couple of opening comments. First of all, if you're able to join us tonight, we'll be having our Eckhart Tolle, The New Earth, from 6 to 7:30. And then Monday night, we have our meditation. It's just been absolutely wonderful from 7 to 8. And especially today, I want to remind you of our workshop on Saturday, January the 21st. It's entitled From the Top Down, Source, Soul, Personality, Self. I ask that you set aside that time from 9 to 12 on Saturday, January the 21st. I think you'll find it enormously helpful. Let's begin. My dear friends, it was the intention of Now Creations to spiritualize the holiday season from Thanksgiving through Christmas and now into the new year. So here we are in this new year. And I can happily say that we did spiritualize the holiday season because we had the intention of doing so, and we did it. A wonderful achievement for all of us. A high point for us doing so was our New Year's Eve program on developing resolutions for the new year, from things we would enjoy doing in the new year to things that we might do better for our spiritual well-being, as well as how we might assist others. If you have not downloaded the New Year's Eve resolution sheet, please do so. Please do so. Make resolutions. You'll see why in just a moment. As we now proceed into the second week of the new year, I would like to use a comment from our New Year's Eve service made by one of our members, and then to share with you one of my personal New Year's resolution as the basis for today's teaching. The teaching is entitled, Going Forward, the 5 C's. You will see, pardon the pun, what I mean. Let's begin. As we began our New Year's Eve service, one of our members asked to make a comment. She said, I can't think of a place where I would most like to be than with all of you in this energy. May I just repeat that? I can't think of a place where I would most like to be than with all of you in this energy. The key phrase, I think, was her enjoyment to be with others in this energy, to be in this energy of spiritual consciousness. May I suggest to you, that her comment is the first C, being comfortable in our spiritual energy. In fact, not just being comfortable in the spiritual energy, but trying to understand more and more that this is the place where we are most comfortable in our lives, to be in this spiritual energy. This is such an achievement for all of us. We're becoming most comfortable in life when we are in this spiritual energy of oneness, in this spiritual energy of love, certainly with others of like mind. We love this energy. It is the best of what we have. We are advancing in what it means to be a Sangha, to be a spiritual community of wonderful souls moving towards a greater and greater state of enlightened consciousness. We are becoming a holy communion of consciousness. Would you just think about that for a moment? We are becoming a holy communion of consciousness. We will return to the first C of comfortability in the conclusion of today's teaching. Let us now proceed to one of my own personal spiritual resolutions for the new year. After considerable reflection, I wrote these words. After considerable reflection, I wrote these words. I am ready to fully live the presence of God without deviation. I am fully ready to live the presence of God without deviation. The phrase without deviation was the key for me. It meant that I am now fully ready to live the presence of God without any excuses, without any exceptions, that I am now ready to do so without any deviation. What I want to suggest to you is that my mantra might also speak to you, that we are now ready to fully live the God presence without any deviation. It is this readiness to live the God presence without any deviation that will give us the other 4 C's. While the first C referred to our comfortability in this energy, the second C now focuses on the word connection. The reason that we want to live in this energy, the reason why we are fully willing to live in the God energy, the reason why the God energy brings joy to our lives is because we have come to understand without a doubt that we are consciously connected to the God energy. We are consciously connected to the God energy. You cannot be without it. In Course in Miracles language, you would simply say, you have not left your source. In our everyday language, we would simply say, you know, we've made the shift. We've shifted from our personality self to the God spirit, and we live by the qualities of oneness and love. Let's now proceed. Let's now proceed. This connection to the God spirit opens to us the next C, the third C. The third C is the consistency that you have displayed in laying the foundation for your spirituality. You know well the words of Jesus, saying of that building, we must build our foundation upon the rock, not upon the shifting sands. We need a solid basis for our growth. I believe that you have done this in the following 4 consistencies. First, you consistently begin your day by dedicating it to the God presence before you get out of bed. You use words like I do. I will love everyone today. And in so doing, I am ushering in the kingdom of God. Do you realize the effect that these words are having on you and through you? You are what God is doing, and you feel comfortable in doing so. You have ascended from your consciousness to the God consciousness. Secondly, you consistently do your daily spiritual practices of meditation and of taking good care of your body. There was a time when you lacked the discipline of daily consistency. Remember those days? You were too inconsistent. Sometimes you would, sometimes you wouldn't. It was hit or miss. And oftentimes the misses were more frequent than the hits. But not anymore. Not anymore. It's not just that you realize the importance of your daily spiritual practices as we do them, but now you look forward to doing them because in them, in your daily spiritual practices, you are now finding the self that you most want to be. Did you ever think you would possibly say, I can't wait to do my spiritual practices because at this time I am more me. I'm more me than any other time during the day. What an ascension experience you are having. Third, you have the consistency now of joining with others in one or more groups and sessions with the programs of Now Creations. Perhaps this joining in spiritual communion with others has been the biggest accomplishment up to now. Here's why. It's not just that you realize the power of the group experience, that all of us are better than any of us, but you have also learned through the group experience, you have also learned that there is a universal spirit in the very center of your being. And you have surrendered your individual personality to the greater unifying power of the Holy Spirit. You have yielded to the Holy Spirit with others. Wow. This is quite an achievement on your part. You realize that you are no longer a separated human being, but rather now you are a universal member of a unified whole. Again, quite an achievement, quite an advance in understanding who you are as a part of the larger whole. Fourth and lastly, you are now consistently living by the 10 habits of daily enlightened living that we just posted on our website. Under the leader bar, you'll see 10 habits of daily enlightened living. You realize that you need daily reminders so that you will not whine or complain. That you need a daily reminder to find a mantra that will help you through the parts of the day when you might be wavering. And you need to realize that at the end of the day, it's just as important to move into that God spirit as it was in the beginning of the day. If you have not reviewed these 10 habits of daily enlightened living on our website, I encourage you to do so. But more than that, please live by them. Please live by them. In a big nutshell, your connection to the God Spirit and your consistent practice has clearly enabled you to say, my soul spirit is in charge of my life. Oh boy, my soul spirit is in charge of my life. In Course in Miracles language, I am not a body. I am free. I am as God created me. I am a soul spirit, fully connected and consistently practicing my spirituality, which now brings me to the most important part of today's teaching. the most important part. Let me now return to the mantra that I formulated on my New Year's Eve services resolution. Here it is again. I am ready to live the presence of God without deviation. I am ready to live the presence of God without deviation, without excuses, without exceptions. This mantra enables me to introduce the third and fourth C's, the fourth and fifth C's. The first one is one of the 7 living words of A Course in Mastering Alchemy. The word is capable. The second is an also very strong word with a spiritual history, but I'll wait to introduce it, which I will shortly. But let's begin with capable and then proceed to the second word. By capable, what I mean is the ability to fully live the presence of God without deviation. This entails 3 things. The first one is obvious, but please do not underestimate its importance and do not become complacent. The essence of your capability to live without deviation is your soul connection to the God Spirit. I'll say that again. The essence of your capability to live without deviation is your connection to the God Spirit. You then completely understand the importance of your daily spiritual practices. If you become complacent or negligent of your spiritual practices, you will lose your sense of being capable. But the really good news is, the more you continue your daily practices, you will feel more and more capable. That's the point. You'll feel more and more capable. The wise spoken to you, I think, is sufficient. Now to the heart of not deviating. You must learn to not deviate. No excuses, no exceptions in 2 areas. The first one is the harder of the 2. You must not deviate from yourself. What I mean by not deviating from yourself is that at any time you're ready to whine or complain to yourself about something, you are introducing a negative energy that will lower your energy field. You have deviated. And it is in the accumulation of self-deviating energies that diminish your mental, emotional, and physical health. You must come to understand this. It's this deviation on a consistent basis, accumulated, that causes our basic problems of life. Let me be crystal clear with some possible deviations. You don't like dusting your house or doing the laundry. Dust your house, do the laundry without complaining. You don't like what's going on in politics today. Don't complain and add to the deviation. You don't like living alone, or you don't like living with someone. Don't complain Don't introduce more deviation. And especially, please do not become dependent on things that you think are necessary, but which are not. Free yourself from your dependencies on the superficialities of life. Stay connected. Don't deviate. Please do not think that you need certain foods, alcohol, sex, movies, entertainment, television, concerts, family gatherings. As A Course in Miracles clearly teaches us, don't let what you perceive to be a special relationship to take over from the one absolutely most important relationship, your connection to the God Spirit. Don't deviate from what is most important. You're only going to end up hurting yourself and hurting others because, well, you deviated. Of course, this does not mean to neglect other people or life situations in which you're engaged. It's a matter of keeping your essential priority, which is your soul connection to the God Spirit. It is this essential soul connection that enables you to be capable. Losing your soul connection is like the soul becoming susceptible to kryptonite, dependent on things outside of you, are the kryptonite of your soul spirit's deviation. Stay vigilant. There is a second area in which we need to be vigilant and not to deviate. In addition to not deviating from yourself, it is important not to deviate in your relationships, whether such relationships are spousal, parental, familial, or social. You know enough about such statements, such as hurting people do hurtful things, or such as don't take things personally. But there might be one or two people that still push your buttons. It's time to come to an understanding of your relationship with such a person. There are no exceptions to oneness. Any exception to oneness, any deviation such as I will love everyone except that one, is not acceptable because it takes you out of your oneness. Does it not? And are you surprised that you've allowed that person to have such control over you? You're surprised that you've allowed that person to have control over you. If another is a stumbling block to you, please talk to someone. Call me. Oneness is at the heart of God's creation, with love as its expression. You know the words of Jesus. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. We need to hear those words addressed to us when we are deviating from the oneness, when we allow someone else to control us. Please resolve this issue. No exceptions, no excuses. We're now ready for the fifth and last C. It's a powerful word. The fifth and last C is the word conviction. There are many people in life who have temporary convictions and then they deviate. For a time, they are connected in a relationship, in a job, or anything that seems important at the moment. And then they deviate. What we are now talking about is the conviction that stems from our conscious connection to the God Spirit. We are talking about the conviction that it is not only a return to our primal connection to the God Spirit, but it is the way that we will move forward into our eternal future, starting right here, right now, with no deviation. Honestly, isn't it wonderful to know what you're doing? It is the conviction of being connected to your God Spirit that is the conscious understanding of who you are and how you will proceed in your future without deviation from yourself or from others. So easy to rationalize, justify yourself, let alone others. Isn't it wonderful to live without deviation? Not having to make excuses about yourself or about others. Not having to hide. Not having to hide. And not having exceptions to the family of the God Spirit. Come on, let's do this. Let's live with conviction. Be determined. And in so doing, allow the life of the God Spirit to raise you up in love of self and of all others. No exceptions. In conclusion, let me now return to the first C that I mentioned, being comfortable. Being comfortable knowing who you are, knowing your place in the world, and especially being comfortable to fulfill it. Such comfortability, which we now understand that we are able to sustain, comes from that second C, our connection to the God Spirit. It's that connection to the God Spirit that enables us to realize that third C of consistency to our lives. This may be even surprising to you at times, a consistency that we never seemed to have before. That consistency leading to the fourth C, our capability. We're quite capable now of going forward daily consciously in the God Spirit, which now leads to that fifth C of the conviction that the presence within us of the God Spirit is what will be moving us forward. Without deviation, no excuses, no exceptions, no more hiding. And yes, of course, we're doing this together. Are we not all part of the oneness? You have never been, and you certainly are not now, an exception. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. We are ready. we are ready to move forward with full awareness, full consciousness, without any deviation. Follow the 5 C's. Is it not true that you are the most comfortable in your life living in this energy? You've ascended in consciousness. You have moved from fixated on the personality self into the soul spirit. It's an incredible shift. But this is what you've always wanted. How many times have you said, I just want to do the will of God, and now you comfortably say it? I'm doing the will of God, which is my will. I'm comfortable. This is me. You're comfortable because you're connected. You always have been. But there was a time when your personality self in the world took over. You fully played the game of separation. Happy that's done with. And each day, when you go within, you realize that you are inextricably connected to your source. You always were, but now you know it. I suspect you too might be somewhat surprised by the consistency now of your practices. That lack of discipline, more missing than hitting, those are gone. Because now when you do your meditation, or any spiritual practice, or take care of your body, you realize that you are taking care of the God Spirit in your holy temple. The consistency of your spiritual practices are the basis for your daily practice. I'll say it again. The consistency of your spiritual practices are the basis for your daily practice. I know that you are finding a spiritual view of life easier and easier to live, as it should be. And it's a lot more fun. Everybody is happier. I'm happy to have you here on Sunday morning consistently. Capable, capable. You have stopped justifying. You have stopped rationalizing to your own mind. You have stopped making excuses for yourself and for others. I love that fifth C, conviction, conviction, determination. Not the determination of your personality self, but the determination, the conviction of the God Spirit within you. You're finally accepting that the power of God within you is the strength of your life. Not just to meet challenges, which that strength will do, but to go forward with a great sense of joy and happiness conviction, a determination to live a greater and greater future. Who cares what someone else is doing? You know what you're doing with conviction.
Deep within, peace resides, faith abounds, and love abides. The light shines bright to illumine love.
It's a pretty good resolution. I am now fully ready to live the presence of the God Spirit without deviation. This is pretty fun. Let's go. Let's be convinced of its power and continue to be a blessing to all others. Namaste, dear blessed ones. Namaste.